Hallo liebe Deutschlerner, ich bin Johannes. This lesson is about reflexive Verben. It's a complicated topic, so I try to keep it as simple as possible. At first, what are reflexive verbs? What does this mean? Here's a sentence, a really short sentence, to explain what this means. Ich freue mich. Ich freue mich. This means in English, I am glad, I'm happy. And the sentence structure is also very simple. Ich is your subject, das Subjekt. Freue, that's your conjugated verb. And then there is mich, but why? And what is this? Mich means me, so I'm glad myself, me. Weird, right? But this is exactly what those reflexive verbs are about. Each and every reflexive verb comes together with a reflexive pronoun, ein Reflexivpronomen. And this reflexive pronoun needs to match your subject. It needs to be the same person, like in this sentence here. Ich, mich. So whenever you learn those reflexive verbs, learn them like this. Sich freuen. That's also the way you will find it in your dictionary. You just need to memorize them. There is no reason why a verb is reflexive. Sorry about that. There's no rule. So just memorize them. Excuse me. I think you forgot to mention that when you translate a sentence into English that has one of those reflexive pronouns in it, you just pretend that this reflexive pronoun does not exist. You cannot translate it. Now, go on. Let's take a closer look at those reflexive pronouns, Reflexivpronomen. Basically, you already almost know them when you learned the personal pronouns in accusative case. Because the reflexive pronouns in accusative case, they almost match. Just take a look here. Ich, mich. Du, dich. Er, sie, es, sich. And here is where they are different to the personal pronouns in accusative case. Wir, uns, ihr, euch, sie, sich. And here's the second difference between the personal pronouns in accusative and the reflexive pronouns. Now you know all the reflexive pronouns in accusative case, but you don't know yet where to put these reflexive pronouns in a sentence. Wo steht das Reflexivpronomen? There are so many rules, but we are in A2 right now, so I keep it as simple as possible. Just what you need to know for A2. In a main clause, like the one that we used as example, ich freue mich. When it starts with the subject, then there's the verb, and right after the verb, there is your reflexive pronoun. That's pretty simple, nothing hard here. Of course, your main clause can also start differently. Heute freue ich mich. Heute freue ich mich. So here, position 1, there's the time. Heute. Conjugated verb, freue. And then subject. The subject needs to be before or after the conjugated verb. And right after the subject, there is your reflexive pronoun. Okay, the second step is eine W-Frage. Warum freust du dich? Warum freust du dich? So basically, this is just the same like a main clause that does not start with the subject. That's also not too hard. There is also yes-no questions, of course. Ja-Nein-Frage. Freut ihr euch? freut ihr euch? Freut, conjugated verb, ihr subject, Subjekt, and right after the subject there is your reflexive pronoun. Last but not least, der Nebensatz, subordinate clause. Er lächelt, weil er sich freut. Er lächelt, weil er sich freut. The sentence structure is like this. Weil, Subjekt, Reflexivpronomen, and at the end of the sentence, conjugated verb. And this is something you should always keep in mind. Don't forget this. In a subordinate clause, the conjugated verb is always at the end. These are the most basic and also the most important rules for the positioning of a reflexive pronoun. That's all you need to know for A2. Und jetzt machen wir ein paar Beispielsätze. Now let's do some example sentences, and at the same time, I will teach you the most important reflexive verbs in A2. Das erste Verb ist sich ausruhen. To take rest or to rest. It's a separable, a dividable verb. These two here, they are in the gym and they have a personal trainer, a personal coach. And this is what he tells them. Noch 5. Dann könnt ihr euch 2 Minuten ausruhen. Noch 5. Dann könnt ihr euch 2 Minuten ausruhen. The next verb that I want to introduce, you actually already know. Sich freuen. What you didn't know yet is that there is a preposition. This reflexive verb is used with. It's über. Sich freuen über. And it uses accusative case. And this is something that a lot of reflexive verbs have in common. They use prepositions. So I recommend you just memorize this whole construction like you see it here. Sich freuen über, and also the case that this preposition in this combination uses. So let's make an example sentence. Julia freut sich über das Geschenk. Julia freut sich über das Geschenk. Das nächste Verb ist still, sich freuen, but in the combination with the preposition auf, which also uses accusative case. And this means to look forward to. So don't mix those two up. It's the same verb, but the preposition changes the meaning. Here's my example sentence. Sie freuen sich aufs Wochenende. Sie freuen sich aufs Wochenende. Here I did something which is very common in spoken language. I combined auf und das to one word. Aufs. Spoken language. Das nächste Verb, sich kümmern um. Also with accusative case. To take care of. This mom here, she has something to do and no time to take care of her baby. Luckily, she has an older son, maybe he's 14, and she asks him, Peter, kannst du dich heute um deine Schwester kümmern? Peter, kannst du dich heute um deine Schwester kümmern? Peter, can you take care of your sister today? I did not have to conjugate kümmern in this sentence because I used a modal verb. Können, kannst. Therefore, kümmern, the second verb, moves to the end of this whole sentence and stays in its infinitive. Das nächste Verb ist sich interessieren für, also with accusative case, to be interested in. Wir interessieren uns für ihre Gesundheit. Wir interessieren uns für ihre Gesundheit. Wir, subject, uns, reflexive pronoun, it's a match. Everything good here. Sich beschweren bei plus Dativ über plus Accusative. So some of those reflexive verbs, they often use two different prepositions, and in this case, they even use two different cases. Das Beispiel: Sie beschweren sich bei Ihrem Chef über Ihre Arbeitszeiten. Sie beschweren sich bei Ihrem Chef über Ihre Arbeitszeiten. Sich bedanken bei plus Dativ, sich bedanken für plus Akkusativ. Ich möchte mich bei dir für deine Hilfe bedanken. Ich möchte mich bei dir für deine Hilfe bedanken. Bonus tip, which is not a real bonus tip this time. It's a summary of the most important things about reflexive Verben. Nummer 1. They always come together with a reflexive pronoun. And this reflexive pronoun refers back to the subject and needs to be the same person. Ich konzentriere mich. It is not possible, at least in most cases, to translate this reflexive pronoun into English, so you just leave it out of your translation. Nummer 2. They also often, not always, come together with a preposition and a certain case. Ich konzentriere mich auf meine Hausaufgaben. Nummer 3. It's not possible to change the reflexive pronoun into another person which doesn't match the subject. Ich konzentriere dich. This is wrong. It's also wrong to not mention it. For example, ich konzentriere. Das ist falsch. Das ist alles, was du wissen musst über reflexive Verben. Of course, there is more to come, but for now, you're good to go. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Mach's gut. Bye bye. Tschüss und auf Wiedersehen.